The Scytheran Dominion had conquered 47 star systems in 3 centuries. Their war fleets were legendary, their military doctrine refined through countless campaigns against species that had barely achieved spaceflight. When their scouts discovered Earth, a world of fragmented nations, primitive chemical rockets, and laughably outdated weapons, the War Master K'thran didn't even bother attending the invasion briefing. A Category 5 primitive world, his subordinate reported. No unified government. No energy shields. No plasma weaponry. They still use projectile firearms. K'thran had dismissed it with a wave of his claw. Standard protocol. Orbital bombardment of military installations. Ground forces to secure resources. Installation of a puppet government. Have it done by sunset. The invasion fleet dropped out of hyperspace at 0600 hours GMT, positioning themselves above Earth's major population centers. In Moscow, Beijing, Washington, London, and Delhi, the alien vessels appeared as dark crescents against the dawn sky, blotting out the morning sun. Admiral Sarah Chen was drinking her 3rd coffee of the morning when the alerts began screaming. As the commander of NORAD, she'd run through alien invasion scenarios more times than she cared to count. They'd always seemed like expensive theater, justifications for black-budget projects and experimental weapons programs. She stared at the satellite feeds, watching the impossible become real. "Ma'am," her communications officer said, voice trembling. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies. It's a surrender demand." The message was simple: submit or be destroyed. They had 2 hours to respond. Chen picked up the red phone that connected her to the president, the Joint Chiefs, and every major military installation on Earth. "Gentlemen, ladies," she said calmly, "I believe it's time we showed our guests what humanity does to uninvited guests, what the Scytherans didn't. No, what their intelligence had completely failed to grasp was that humanity's primitive technology was a deliberate misdirection. For 70 years, since the Roswell incident and dozens of other carefully hidden encounters, humanity had been reverse engineering alien technology. But more importantly, they'd been improving it. Humans had a unique gift. They didn't just copy. They innovated. At 0645 hours, the Scytheran warships launched their first strike. Plasma torpedoes screamed toward military installations across the planet. Every single one detonated harmlessly against invisible barriers, electromagnetic shields that humanity had perfected decades ago, hidden in plain sight as experimental defense grids and atmospheric research stations. K'thran sat up in his command throne. "What shields?" The intelligence report said. "They lied to us," his tactical officer whispered, mandibles clicking nervously. "Or we missed something." They'd missed everything. From concealed silos across 7 continents, humanity's response began. Not missiles, the Scytherans would have laughed at missiles. Instead, railguns fired streams of tungsten rods accelerated to 0.05 C. Simple, elegant, devastating. The rods punched through the Scytheran shields like paper, their kinetic energy so immense that the shields couldn't dissipate it fast enough. 3 warships exploded in brilliant fireballs before K'thran could even issue an evasive maneuver order. "Return fire," he screamed. "All batteries." But humanity wasn't done. From the shadows of the moon, from orbiting satellites disguised as space junk, from underwater facilities that officially didn't exist, the real weapons emerged. Directed energy weapons that could slice through hull plating at light speed. Quantum-entangled missiles that couldn't be dodged because they knew where their targets would be before the targets did. Swarms of autonomous drones, each one smaller than a human fist, each one carrying enough antimatter to vaporize a city block. The Scytherans had conquered 47 systems, but they'd never faced an enemy that treated warfare as an art form, that spent more on military technology than most civilizations spent on their entire economies, that could unite instantly in the face of an external threat, despite fighting among themselves constantly. By 0800 hours, the Scytheran invasion fleet was in full retreat. But Earth's defensive network had been designed by paranoid minds who'd read too much science fiction. They'd planned for this scenario, an enemy attempting to flee and regroup. The orbital defense platforms activated their final weapon, a hyperspace interdiction field that prevented faster-than-light travel within the solar system. The Scytherans were trapped. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "All forces you are authorized to engage at will. Leave nothing operational." What followed wasn't a battle. It was an extermination. Human fighters, sleek craft that could outmaneuver anything the Zitharans had, swarmed the alien ships like piranhas. Nuclear-pumped X-ray lasers carved through armor. Kinetic kill vehicles moving at relativistic speeds turned cruisers into expanding clouds of plasma. The few Zitharan dropships that managed to reach Earth's surface found themselves facing military forces equipped with exoskeletons, plasma weapons, and a willingness to die that the Zitharans couldn't comprehend. Cathran's flagship, the Endless Conquest, was the last to fall. His communications officer had managed to send one final message back to Zitharan space, a warning, a desperate plea. But Chen's cyber warfare teams had corrupted it, turned it into gibberish. When the Endless Conquest broke apart under sustained railgun fire, Cathran's last thought was a simple one. We should have left them alone. By 1200 hours it was over. 43 Zitharan warships reduced to debris, 17,000 alien soldiers dead or captured, 0 human casualties. By 1400 hours, humanity's faster-than-light ships, kept hidden for exactly this scenario, were jumping towards Zitharan space. Not as invaders, but as a message. They arrived at the Dominion's capital world and broadcast a simple statement. You have 24 hours to surrender unconditionally. We have already destroyed your invasion fleet. We know where every one of your worlds is located. We have weapons you cannot imagine. This is your only warning. The Zitharan Council, faced with footage of their legendary fleet's destruction and scans showing human vessels that outclass their own technology by centuries, didn't need 24 hours. They needed 24 minutes. By 1800 hours GMT, the Zitharan Dominion had ceased to exist as an independent entity. Their territory was placed under United Earth oversight. Their weapons were confiscated. Their history was rewritten to include the important lesson they'd learned that day. Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of the UNSS Deterrence, watching the sun set over Earth. Somewhere out there, 46 other star systems were learning that their former overlords had fallen. In the days to come, humanity would be faced with a choice: become the new oppressors or something better. But that was tomorrow's problem. Today, humanity had proven something that the Zitharan's intelligence had failed to grasp, something that would echo across the galaxy in the years to come. You don't survive on a death world like Earth for millions of years, fighting each other with increasingly sophisticated weapons, without becoming very, very good at violence. And humanity had been practicing for a very long time.